This video is brought to us by the Indiana Arts Commission. They were wonderful enough to give me a grant to continue with my art and also to continue to help teach you guys a little bit more about jewelry smithing. Because of them, I'm going to be able to teach you guys some more techniques and tell you about more different kinds of tools for jewelry smithing, not just wire weaving. So do look forward to those videos coming up, and thanks Indiana Art Commission. Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel, Art Classes My Way. We got a bit of a theory piece here rather than a how-to piece. If you guys really want me to show you how I made this like step by step, or even just certain parts of it step by step, do let me know in the comments section below. So this is a mask and I pretty much made it. I have a fair bit of an acne problem, and I kind of thought, well, if I could cover that up, and like an interesting way to go about doing that. And then I thought about how in Japan, a lot of people over there, they wear those little white medical masks and different things, and that just got my head to thinking about making, what if you made something like that, but more of a decorative jewelry piece, since, you know, especially over there, it's pretty something like that's pretty commonly worn. So I came up with this guy. He's not 100% done just yet. I do have all these eyes yet to finish. This is the concept for this side, and I just put this red one on here. I had to order all new eyes in order to get this. And I'm going to fill this area in. And while this guy is, it takes about 24 hours for the glue to completely cure on one of these, and that'll just hold it in place when I start using the wire to pretty much hold it down. Like you can kind of see on this yellow one here, I have this wire coming in on the curve of it to hold it down, in addition to the glue keeping it from, the eyeball would spin in place and I want them all looking in one particular direction, so I've glued it down because of that. A large part of the construction of this piece is a great deal like the claw rings that I made. A good deal of it you can figure out how to do from watching those videos. And here's the other side here. I used a gunmetal for the base of it, and just a couple of corrections that I would do differently if I was remaking another one of these. This is an extremely big piece. It doesn't seem like it would take any longer than the claw rings would, but believe me, it does. So that's why it might remain as a concept piece, because I'm not sure if it's necessarily an item that'll sell or not. It was a great deal of fun to make, and as far as I know, nobody else has made anything like this. Here's the interior. It's surprisingly comfortable to make. I made sure that the actual piece itself was comfortable before I started adding all the weight to it. And while I was adding all these leaves and things, or Cthulhu tentacles, whatever you want to call them, my husband thinks they're Cthulhu tentacles, and he's not entirely wrong, but at the same time, I feel it feels kind of leafy. As I was adding all this weight to the front of it, I kept putting it on and making sure that it was comfortable and making sure that none of the attachment areas were like going against my nose or anything. When I'm done completely, I'll put a piece of felt right here where the nose piece is. These pieces here actually do serve a bit of a purpose. It does take some of the weight off and bring the weight upwards rather than just being all right here on the top of my nose, which would be right in this area. Now, if I would change anything about it, which I would, this bar that I put across here, I would actually put a few more throughout the whole thing. The base wire, the base weave, it did not turn out very good. It's the wider you try to weave this across, it just does not want to really behave to very well, especially with the shape of the mask, how it ended up being. And you can see where I ended up adding to the mask because it just didn't come down low enough. I felt I wanted it to be a little bit more like a visor, like for a knight's helmet. So I ended up adding this piece and going ahead and doing all the different weaves, so that way when you're looking from the sides or something, you can still see the same general pattern, but from the front, you really don't notice what's going on behind it nearly as much, or if at all. Nobody really seems to pay attention to the back part here. This is just the wearing part, and whether or not I decide to do felt on the inside, that has yet to be determined. It is surprisingly breathable. Not as breathable as one would think. It does trap a little bit of the moisture from your breath in the inside of it when it's really, really hot. But still, overall, I mean, you know, those paper masks have definitely got to hold a whole lot more to them than this guy would. Of course, also those serve a completely different purpose, but you know. So what I did to start off with, you got the long ear wires, that's where it connects. And how I've connected them, I just basically took the bottom wire, wrapped it around the top one here, and that made me my nice little decorative end. Came in and basically I made two different triangles. This in the middle here, I took the two halves and wrapped them together. Now after I had basically built the whole thing and I thought I was doing pretty good, I should have built it in front of a mirror to make sure that I got far enough. I didn't. I was just going by how it felt on my face rather than looking at something. You know, hindsight's 20/20. But this is two different triangles, and then once I pretty much wove them together through here, that's when I started shaping it to my face. And then after I got done with all the shaping, that's when I realized, okay, this really needs to come down further, and that's when I added this piece on after the fact. And again, I did add this wire in through here to originally try to make the gaps smaller in order to, you know, make all this look just a little bit neater, a little bit nicer. It looks good up until a certain point, but then it just got really wonky-do. So that's when I added that, and that ended up being a great anchor for all the leaves, and I wish I had done more, so then I didn't have to necessarily do great big huge leaves. Because it doesn't matter how big the leaf is. If you would build a great big huge leaf to cover a great big area, or build two leaves to cover a great big area, it's about the same amount of work. And it's probably about 2 months worth of weaving in here, just fingers getting sore and developing calluses on my fingers where never had them before. So, you know, lot to do. I would add more of these so that way I could have the option of making the smaller leaves and more connection points for everything to grab a hold of. And this is pretty much a piece to go with the claw rings that I made. That's why I've continued with the theme of the eyeballs here. I'm going to come in and I'm going to fill in these areas a little bit more, and I'm going to try to figure out how to fill in this nose area just a bit. That's the overall idea and concept. Trust me, when you're making something like this, I can show you how to do it more step by step, but at the same time, you're going to be shaping it to your own face and shaping it to what is most comfortable to you. So really just telling you more or less in theory how to go about it. It's going to probably work out just as well as me trying to do a tutorial on how to go about doing something like this. But overall, this is just something to kind of get your brain to thinking, and you know, to brainstorm. And wire weaving can be very structural. It doesn't just have to be about pendants, bracelets, your typical jewelry type items, rings, what have you. You can take it to a whole other level. Like I said, this kind of came about the idea of thinking about how people in Japan, they wear those medical masks to keep from getting sick all the time. And what if that was a piece of jewelry, because a lot of people wear something like that quite often, and just to be kind of different. So yeah, so it's just more of a piece to get you to thinking about things beyond just what is jewelry. So I will pretty much leave it at that. And the video is sponsored by Indiana Arts Commission. If it wasn't for them, probably wouldn't be able to continue doing videos, which I do plan to do more coming up in the future. Some of it's going to go a little bit away from wire weaving, going to go more into your traditional jewelry making. And I hope you guys will join me for that kind of stuff. And also, anybody out there who watches my stuff and they want to show me a weird piece, you know, just structurally different, a structurally different idea, concept, what have you, I'd like to highlight you guys as well. You know, show off what you guys can do. The same way that the Indiana Arts Commission is helping me, I'd also like to help out other artists as well. So yeah, send me pictures and I'll kind of pick out some of my favorites and I'll do a video on that. So Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you guys have a good one. Bye!